All right, Cam, we're live. So I've got a new guest here, Cam.
Hey,
Now
everybody.
there's been a big problem, I think, in the real estate industry for a long time, and especially over the last, gosh, it seems like here in the Denver metro area, um, 8.5, 9 years, maybe 10 years of um, hey, I would like to buy the next house, but every time I go to submit an offer, because I currently own a house and I got to sell that house in order to move forward, sellers just automatically put that offer towards the bottom of the line, right? So how do you move forward when you're in that position of, I've got this house, I could sell it quick, but nobody's going to look at my offer. So we have a solution. We have a solution now that allows for a homeowner to buy that next house before they actually have to move, right? A fantastic program. So joined with Cam, who's going to give us the rundown on that program. But before we do that, Cam, tell us a little bit about you. Your background.
Yeah,
You are a resident of the great state of Texas. Is that
yeah,
right?
indeed. Yeah, I know that you got a couple of folks from my great state that are relocating to Colorado, and then also vice versa. But yeah, my name is Cam Garrett. I technically live in Austin, but just about as far south as you can be while still being in Austin. And been working with Homeward here for about a year and a half, which on our timeline is pretty long here. I was employee number 53. I think we're now sitting at about 450 roughly now.
Wow.
But yeah, been in the Austin area for about 12 years, and then in some form of another been involved with real estate for the past 5. But yeah, with Homeward, joined the team about a year and a half ago because it's an age-old problem that always left me kind of scratching my head. What comes first, the chicken or the egg, when you own your house and want to get into that next one? And as soon as I read up on our solution, it kind of clicked immediately, and I knew it was something that I wanted to get on board with pretty quickly.
Yeah, right. It's been a fantastic resource for a handful of my clients in that
Mhm.
situation, right? Because
Yeah.
um, you know the situation before had to be, well, I got to go get a bridge loan, and the banks are iffy when it comes to that. I got to get an appraisal,
Yep.
and things are a bit challenging, right? Or I had to have made enough money that I could qualify for the next house, own two, potentially run into multiple mortgages, right? So what do we do there? So um, the give us a quick rundown of how the program just kind of operates, right?
Yeah.
So let's say that I'm in a scenario. I'm currently a homeowner.
Yep.
Maybe my family's growing, and it's time to get into that bigger house. Um, but I don't make a whole bunch of money. I haven't been saving a whole lot,
Mhm.
outside of what I normally save for a next down payment. So I'm kind of in a position where I don't know what to do. I don't know how to move forward. So give me a quick rundown of how this program works.
Absolutely. Well, you are in a very similar position that many homeowners are here in America. For the most part, not everyone, but most folks' equity is tied up in the existing home that they own. And as families grow, as we need more space, or as life takes us elsewhere for jobs and what have you, many people need to unlock that equity for that next move. Traditionally, as you said, that either meant you know hoping you can qualify for that bridge loan, which was something that I feel was a little bit easier to do a few years ago, but now depending on financial requirements, it can be tough to do. Many times you have to be able to technically qualify to own 2 homes at once. Or that was an age old option of, all right, well, I suppose I could sell the house, find our way into a short term rental. If you got kids, if that are moving with you, or even if you're not moving twice, nobody wants to do that. Moving once is stressful enough. Getting into that short term rental, then having to put stuff in storage, move twice. So we're trying to solve that age old problem of, that chicken or the egg problem. So with Homeward, we're able to unlock the equity that you have in the existing home. we will actually buy your next house for you in cash. So no contingent offers, not even a traditionally funded offer. We will literally use our cash to purchase your next home for you, making you a prime buyer in this crazy, competitive market. And once we secure that offer, you move into your new home, make yourself nice and comfy, move once. You're going to work with the agent of your choosing to sell your old house on your own timeline. Whether that means selling and listing right away, or in many cases, some folks have to do a couple of repairs, some updates to get top dollar for their home. But you're able to sell your old house on your own timeline. Don't have to worry about leaving equity on the table. Once your agent sells that home and it's funded, you buy your new house back from us. That's kind of it at that the bird's eye view there. But essentially, you get approved with us, shop for your new home in cash with the agent of your choosing. We'll buy the house for you. You move in, rent from us for the short amount of time that your agent needs to sell your existing house. And then once that's done, you buy back from us. And that's the end of the Homeward transaction.
Yeah. Right. So instead of having to sell my house and maybe try to get a rent back from the buyer, or move in with, my in-laws, crowd everybody's space. Right. I've got 2 dogs and a child. I can't imagine trying to live with my parents and my in-laws on top of that. Right. The reason I think I get along with my parents as well is because we don't live together anymore.
Separate houses. Yes, exactly. When you kind of bring into, I'm coming to you live from my home office here as well, where 2 dogs, 2 cats, 1 17-year-old child, 1 hermit crab, a lot of moving parts. And, if I were to think of trying to show your home, while you're living in it, and just that, that hassle, stuff that's already alleviated by being in your new home. Your agent, they get to do what they do best is, they've got a beautiful empty house, which is list, get top dollar for you. But, it adds convenience across the spectrum there, and it answers a lot of, kind of age old questions, but won't have to find a short-term rental, won't have to cramp anybody else's style, moving in with the in-laws short-term. And, in a world where folks are working and living at the house, and this is everybody's home base truly in the past 2 years, as we want to be able to protect that and give you guys peace of mind moving forward.
Yeah, the challenge can be, when it comes to selling the house, is just being there, having to be home while that process is going on. My personal story, the last time we sold our primary residence, we had showings on a Saturday, and quite a few showings on that day. Right now, come towards the end of the day, my wife, who was pregnant at the time, we're both now in our sweats. We're kind of watching TV, and then there's a knock on the door. And okay, I go and open the door. We didn't have any more scheduled showings, but here's an agent with their buyer, and they're like, "Hey, we're here for a showing." I look at my watch, and I was like, "You guys were supposed to be here an hour ago. And you're showing up now." Right. It's a conversation with, my wife, Brenna. All right, you're pregnant. Do you want him in the house? Do we need to go? Let's go sit down the street and see how long it is. We sat in our car for, I think, 45 minutes while they went through the house. Yeah. They never wrote an offer. Wasn't worth it. Right. Mm-hmm. Here, I get a chance to pack up, move, get everything over to that next house, and not have to worry about being disturbed during that time.
Not at all. And, when you take into the current, environment that we're in, where some folks are immunocompromised, or they are taking care of family members that, maybe as well, everybody just has peace of mind. You won't have to worry about, if that appointment was late and you enter into relaxation mode, put the sweatpants on. Am I going to get a doorbell knock or, a ring later on, from the folks that are saying, "Hey, we're 10 minutes late. Can we still check your house out?" Yeah. But it alleviates all that stress there as well. And then, on top of that, just being able to make a cash offer on your next home as well, bumping you up from even what would be a traditionally strong funded offer, being able to make that next offer in cash, quick close as well. It, solves a couple of different problems that we're facing in this current market, most certainly.
Yeah, no doubt. So before we jump into some more of the benefits, right, to current customers, This isn't a nonprofit organization. This isn't volunteer work, right? There's a cost that kind of
Yes.
comes up with this. Yet the cost is pretty affordable.
Yeah,
So quick rundown. What does
absolutely.
it cost for me to go through that program?
Sure. So there's two costs that are associated with a Homeward transaction that is going to be different for the client, for most of the folks watching here, than if you were to go traditionally funded. First will be our convenience fee, and second will be our rental range, or our rental period. So I'll tackle the convenience fee first. So essentially, the convenience fee is going to be 1.9% of the purchase value of the new home. So when we buy the home for you, let me just do some quick mental math. Let's say we buy a house for you on your behalf for $300,000. Well, we're in Denver here, so let's be a little bit more.
Probably 500 to 600.
Yeah, sorry, I realized we're talking Denver here, so it'll be a little bit more realistic. So let's say we're buying a house for $600,000, if we're lucky. The convenience fee is going to be 1.9% of that. So when you would buy the home back from us, it's going to be the $600,000 plus the 1.9% convenience fee, which comes out to
just under 12 grand.
Exactly. It comes out to $11,400. Yeah. Now, if you end up securing your mortgage to buy your home back from us through Homeward Mortgage, our in-house lender, we will give you back, or convey back 0.5% of that convenience fee to you in the form of a lender's credit that will essentially make that convenience fee a net 1.4%. Now, that convenience fee there, most everybody rolls that into the mortgage on the new house there, and so they're paying that off over time. So we do have that convenience fee. Again, 1.9% if using a third-party lender, 1.4% if you do use our in-house lender. And of course, we're going to do everything we can to earn your business on the mortgage side. We have a best price match program in place to basically match or beat anybody that you're currently approved with, but I won't go into super detail on that. But convenience fee there is one cost. And then the second cost is the short rental period. So that rental period starts on the day that Homeward buys your house. You're able to move into that home, and that ends on the day that you buy your home back from us. Now, the cool thing about the rent, it's prorated only for the days that you need it. You technically have up to 6 months for your agent to sell your old home, but we're seeing, on average, folks rent from us in this current market for about 45 days, but rent prorated only for the days that you'll need it. And the exact calculation, how we calculate rent for homes under $1 million, it's going to be the cost of the home multiplied by 0.0072, and then we divide that by 31 to arrive at the per day charge. So in the regards of this $600,000 home, we'd be looking at a daily charge of about $139. And rent prorated only for the days that you need it, and those payments are in fact deferred till when you buy the house back from us. So you'll have the assets from the sale of your existing house. And so the rent and that convenience fee, those are your two costs out of pocket to do business with Homeward.
Yeah. So as we tackle that first part, that convenience fee, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's just under 2%, unless you use Homeward's lender, then you get a discount.
Correct.
So a lot of questions that I answer when it comes to that is, well, that seems like, that's kind of expensive. And my comment back is, well, it is a convenience fee, right? We're paying a little bit for the convenience of,
absolutely,
one, getting a house where maybe you wouldn't have been competitive in your offer before, and two, you don't have to move twice. But the best way to purchase a home to get the best discount is with cash, and Homeward's buying it with cash. Essentially, absolutely, to that seller, it's the same as a cash deal. So, not every time, but you can kind of at times get a discount versus what you would have had to have paid. So we make up a little bit of the money there.
Absolutely.
Then the absolute best way to sell a house is nobody's living there and it's staged. You walk into any new build community and you're going to see, right, there's a couch there. There's stuff on the kitchen island. There's some artwork hung up, right? And it looks, you can define the space, right? It looks nice, but you don't see trash cans and you don't see right? The kids coloring pencils and, the dog bowl, things like that there, right? Which we have when we live in a home. So we make up some money on that side. I think the very first clients that I helped through this program, they ended up making up their full convenience fee with what we got in addition on their sales price. Right. So it worked out really well there. Right.
Well, you kind of hit the nail on the head there, Matt. With the Homeward offer, you're upgraded to a prime buyer, all cash offer, and your agents that you're going to be working with, they get absolutely giddy with excitement when they are representing prime all cash buyers, because they have so much more leverage on your behalf at the negotiation tables when it's coming in with those offers. When you're representing an all cash, quick close buyer, there's a lot of fun you can have when it comes into negotiating off of, money off of the asking price, maybe some money to go towards closing. Maybe there is a, home warranty that you have your eyes on, but lots of negotiation powers that, you now are able to leverage with your agent, being that you're upgraded at a prime buyer. And of course, Matt, you also are speaking some serious truth there as far as showing a nice empty staged house. I mean, one, you don't have to worry about being there in that hassle, but you have the beautiful, nice empty house. You're paired with your real estate agent who is going to do what they do best, which is get you top dollar, list that home, get it staged, and get you the top dollar for that house, not have to leave any equity on the table as well. Keep in mind, some folks might need to do some repairs. So I've got a funny little story about when I first started here. It's one of the first transactions I can remember working on. We had a family here, North Austin, 2 kids and 2 iguanas. They had an iguana room, which was painted jet black. There's black lights. There was lights for those 2 iguanas. It was a free range room. It was pretty neat looking. As you can imagine, though, I don't really think the sellers or the buyers on this next house were needing an iguana room, nor were they too crazy about how it smelled. So we were basically able to get these folks into their next home, kids and iguanas included. There is a new iguana room on the new house, but the agent and the owners of the house, they were able to game plan, do a little work on that iguana room, get it painted, get it switched back over to be habitated by humans, and they were able to get all of that done. Ended up getting about $20,000 more on their home than they were expecting, because they were able to really take the time to do the work that they needed to not leave any of that equity on the table.
Yeah, so you take something that folks are going to walk into, and it's going to be a detractor, right? The very few buyers, when I'm going through my buyer consultation, are looking for an iguana room.
Yep. Few and far between, I can imagine.
Growing up, the house that I grew up in, my stepmom was big into birds, and we had a bird room. So when you said an iguana room, I went back to that, and I could still smell that room today. It's awful.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, you just, as far as getting moved out, you've got your agent has what they do best with, which is a lovely empty house, and the amount that they're able to make up for you, making sure they get top dollar, will definitely come back in spades.
Yeah. So you made a comment earlier about most people roll that convenience fee into the financing.
Correct.
The most recent clients that we helped go through, they purchased the house at one price. Now we were able to negotiate a pretty good deal. Mm-hmm. When their appraisal came through with their Homeward lending, it actually appraised for way over what they purchased on the home. So they were able to roll that convenience fee into it.
Yeah.
And right now in this market, I can't think of a single buyer that I've worked with or spoken to that wouldn't pay a little bit extra to walk into a house with a lot more equity, right? So it can absolutely work in that favor.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, we're finding that during the short rental period. So keep in mind, you would technically have up to 6 months or, to work with your agent to sell your existing home. But most people are renting from us for, about 45 days, maybe 3 months or so. But with how this market is moving in that short amount of time, they're already earning and building equity in that house. I mean, you've seen it, Matt, in our market here in Austin, in your market in the Denver area. Some homes, their value grew by 20, 30, $40,000 in the short amount of time that they own that home during that rental period. And it's really interesting to see how these houses are appraising when we first start into this. When we first start on the client's behalf to right before they buy back from us. And it doesn't hurt by the minute you get into your house from when we bought it for you to when you buy it back from us. There's already a nice chunk of equity that you've built up in that short amount of time.
Yeah, it can absolutely be advantageous. Now, again, that's not it always works this way. It's not a guarantee that it works this way. So understand, right? There's always going to be some trade-off down the road, right? As we look at that. One other piece I want to get back to that you said, the rent that is being paid, right?
Yes.
So instead of moving into a short-term rental,
correct,
and I have to pay for that up front, right? Maybe there's a security deposit. I pay higher rent.
Sure, there would be.
The rent that's being charged by Homeward when I moved into that next house is not being collected until we actually have sold the house that I was currently in, and we've closed on that next house. So I'm not making a rent payment and a mortgage payment at the same time.
Absolutely. Ideally, we want this is a solution for folks that realistically wouldn't be able to qualify for that bridge loan and be able to own those two homes at once. And so we realize that when you're in the new home, while your agent is selling your existing house, you're paying your old mortgage payment. And we want you to be able to have food with your meals. So we are going to be deferring those rental payments until that last transaction when you buy the home back from us. So keep in mind that is going to be after you've already worked with your agent to sell your existing house. And so clients are using the proceeds from that home sale to cover that rent period there. But you're absolutely right. Prorated only for the days that you need it, and they would be deferred until that last transaction. We definitely, we're trying to make this feasible and make this make sense for everybody. And that being said, not many people are too wild about paying a rental payment and a mortgage payment at the same time. So we're going to hold off until you've got a little bit more wiggle room and you have the assets from the sale of your old home.
Yeah. So let's take this down the road, right? And I know this question comes up, and folks that are watching are probably going to have this question.
Mm-hmm.
Well, God, Cam, what if my house doesn't sell? What happens, right? Am I going to be stuck renting this new house forever? And then I've got this mortgage payment. What happens?
Oh goodness, Matt, I'm so happy that you asked me that one. So we've got we have a safety net in place for if whatever reason that home doesn't sell within 6 months forward, we've got a path forward for you. So during your application process, and this is well before we would even get to this point in time, this is when we are, you are getting approved with us, we will give you a floor price on your home. Now, typically, this is roughly about 93% of what you would get for that home on the fair market. This is basically a safety net that says, hey, if this home does not sell for whatever reason within 6 months, Homeward will buy this home from you for this money, for the floor price. That way, you'll still be able to move forward with the purchase of the new home back from us. Now, Matt, it's a safety net. It's a wonderful feature to have. We have done over 1,000 transactions. We've only had to do that 3 times. So that is most certainly not our end game and not the goal here, but it is a safety net that we have in place if we get there. But the agents that I'm sure everybody's going to be partnering here, especially if it's Matt, we're not going to be getting to that point of 6 months there. But you do have that safety net in place just in case.
Yeah, right now with the limited amount of inventory, if the seller chooses to price the property correctly with what I do, yes, we're not even going to be worried about 6 months from now. But again, it's that safety net. 93% of an not an appraised value. We haven't sent an appraiser out there for it necessarily, but a fair market value. That's a really good deal. To say, hey, I can move forward. I can put it to the open market and get top dollar, or at least I know this is X.
Right.
And don't want to just gloss over the fact that you said this is at the application phase. This is not
yes
at the end. I know this up front. If I'm not comfortable with that number, Well,
Yep.
gosh, I know that up front, and I'm not just
Right.
pigeonholed later.
Not going to be a surprise for anybody. This would have been, on the table 7 months before even getting to, that point there. But realistically, in this market, if your home isn't selling in 6 months, your agent's probably telling you that it might be listed a little high. But as Matt said, it's giving you a path forward. It's guaranteeing the sale of your existing home. But my humble opinion, when you pair with the right agent, that's going to be a much quicker timeline.
Yeah, my humble opinion as well, right? I've been very fortunate, right, to put enough effort, energy, attention into our marketing and our negotiation. I've never had an active home go 6 months. In fact, typically my listing agreement's only 90 days for most properties. I look at it as, if I haven't got it sold in 90 days, I don't want my sign in the yard telling the neighbors, here's the guy that can't sell a house in this market, right? I want to pull that down.
Yeah. I mean, and that just, that I know that we've kind of worked on a couple of deals here already, Matt, and that's no surprise to me as well. But yeah, technically you do have up to 6 months to sell the existing home working with your agent there, but very, very rarely does it take that long. Usually when folks rent from us for a little bit longer, it's because they have, maybe they're doing a little bit more work on the existing home, or, hey, maybe in this market, the sellers of the home are wanting, a longer close there because they're trying to figure out the problem of where they're going to next. But we're going to work with you, and most importantly, your agent as well. And that's the beauty of it, is you get to work with your agent, your known and trusted agent, to provide you some pretty, interesting financing to get you moved into this next house in all cash, move on your own timeline, with being able to still unlock that equity that you have back in your existing home.
Yeah. So, I've utilized this now. New construction, new builders are notorious for not liking contingencies, right? They don't want to go very long. They're looking at, you got to have your house on the market in like a week, right? Whether you're ready to or not, you sign on that and it's got to go. So I've actually been able to utilize this as a negotiation tool to get the builders to feel comfortable moving forward, to say, hey, we'll let this one slide, right? We'll see where it goes. We've got that in our back pocket and can go that route. So there's a number of different ways that this tool can be used as a resource. And, a lot of folks are like, well, this doesn't really make sense. And I've kind of explained it this way. Think of Homeward like your super wealthy uncle who's doing you a favor by buying your house for you and allowing you to move at your own pace, to get things lined up so you can line up the dominoes to accomplish selling the house and getting moved in and doing everything just kind of on your timeline, right? So,
Really?
Yeah, the really wealthy Homeward uncle, super grateful that he's in our lives.
Yes. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better myself. I mean, it is, it's best to think of it as, once qualified, you're having that, that favorite uncle or favorite auntie that will get you into that next home, and you're able to work with your agent to get everything perfectly lined up on your own time, versus the other routes, which are short-term rentals, or forcing your poor agent to write a contingent offer, which everybody knows isn't going to be accepted. But I love that analogy, Matt.
Yeah, it's a tough position for sellers to be in when they're looking at multiple offers, to say, okay, well, here's a cash offer that can close quickly. Maybe it's a little less money, or this one down here, right? It's maybe more money, but they got to sell their house. And what if that next buyer doesn't qualify, and then I can't sell this and can't move forward, right? That domino process. So this allowing that to be that cash offer, move it hopefully right to the top. So
yeah. And just to, not to muddy the waters here, Matt, because I know we're kind of focusing on the buy before you sell program, but we also do have our buy with cash program. And it's the same exact program, except for folks that do not have a home to sell. So for your buyers out there that are competing in this competitive market, that are going up against multiple offers, that are looking to buy in those competitive areas and need to put their best foot forward, same thing, the application process, go through that, soft pull on the credit, no effect on credit there. But we just want to determine once we buy the house for you in cash, can you buy it back? So we have those two solutions, but essentially they both do the same thing. They both upgrade you to a prime buyer to being able to make an all cash offer. And then, of course, for those folks that have the existing house, you're able to sell, unlock the equity in that home on your own timeline.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very cool program, right? To take somebody who may not be as competitive normally in that multiple offer situation and kind of move them up to the top of a list, right?
And still be able to buy back, as they typically would have, using using that mortgage, using that lender that, with that, whatever it's going to be, whether it's 20% down, 10% down, but you're able to be a cash buyer, but still buy back in that traditional sense from us, just with a little bit more time in between to get all of your ducks in a row and make sure everything lines up.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, in my experience, just in life and talking with folks, most people, when given the information and everything's transparent, they can make really well-educated decisions. And sometimes that decision is, yeah, let's move forward with the Homeward program. And sometimes people just aren't comfortable. That's okay. We're not saying everybody has to fit into this box and move forward. We are saying, hey, here's a tool, here's a resource that may help you accomplish your goal. And we're not writing 15 offers over the course of 9 months to try to get there and just be frustrated with the whole process, right? This may absolutely be the solution that solves that.
Absolutely. I mean, and Matt, better than I do, since this is your arena that you live and work in every day. But think of this past spring, the absolute madness that we all went through.
It's crazy.
Matt, I mean, I'm sure you probably have some crazy stories. Do you have a client in mind what was the most offers you wrote this spring on behalf of one of your clients, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, last year I was working with a client that we started to write, I think, 8 or 9 offers. We submitted a couple, but it was one of those. It was early on in the kind of the shutdowns with COVID and the craze of the market. But the market was just moving so fast and it was getting bid so far up and over that he really felt that he wasn't competitive and having to have a loan in place. It just didn't quite line up for him. Right now, that's a frustrating thing. Ultimately, his timeline ran out and he ended up not purchasing a home because the market just was moving so fast. We couldn't quite jump onto that treadmill to keep up speed.
Yeah. And, that's the thing is when you think of, 8 to 9 offers, that's wild. And I know that's Matt, that's something that's your job. That's what you do every day. And you will gladly write as many offers as needed to get the job done on behalf of your clients. But, for those watching, you could imagine that emotional roller coaster of that process. You find the house, you get your heart set on it. Matt writes this beautiful offer, no dice, and then repeat that 8 or 9 times. Let's not put anybody through that emotional stress, not you, not Matt, or anybody involved. And, as Matt said, it's not a forced solution. It's not going to be the best fit for everybody. But when you're thinking of these competitive markets where you're going up against multiple offers, where you're going to be going up against other cash offers, let's level the playing fields. Let's, make it a little bit more even here. And, ideally, let's put everything in our favor to make that first offer be the one that sticks and be the winning offer.
Yeah. Yeah. The great part about this program is, from a consumer standpoint, right, for buyers and sellers, this is a very smooth and simple process. For me on that side of it, it does add some more work. And I've got a great partner here with Cam that helps take that on. It is absolutely more work for me than just a traditional deal, but happy to do it because ultimately this is a fantastic opportunity for clients to go through. Right. And if it fits, if it works, then great. We want to utilize that and move forward with that. So from a consumer standpoint, pretty seamless, pretty smooth. There's a little bit of nuance as we go through, and we can talk through the nuances, if there's more interest in exploring that option. So, as we wrap up here, Cam, are there any other final pieces that maybe some anecdotal story, right, that you can end with to help kind of wrap this up and give folks a clear picture of what it is that we can do with this program?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in a nutshell, regardless of your scenario, whether you have a home to sell or not, we'll be able to upgrade you to a, cash, becoming a prime, prime buyer in this environment, which, is extremely valuable to be able to put your best foot forward there. And then, how the whole company started, it was, by my founder and CEO, Tim Heil. He started his real estate group, the Heil Group, and the buy before you sell program, essentially it was, his unique way of being able to help his clients. He was starting to recognize this problem in real estate that was popping up more often than not. Folks, for the most part, their equity is going to be tied up in that old home, and bridge loans and some of those financial solutions are more for, very, very, very well qualified buyers, folks that can own two homes at once. And so, the natural way forward for him was to be able to come up with a way to get those folks into their next home securely, with a strong offer, and then allowing them and their agent on their own time to unlock that equity and to buy back, on their own timeline, with that peace of mind there. When you think of, the current market as it's been in the Denver area for, the past decade or so, and the current market that we're starting to experience here in Texas and all over, inventory is low, demand is high. And, this is, we're trying to solve, add some more solutions for age-old problems here. And whether it, ends up being the route forward for everybody or not, that's to be determined. But it's, it's providing a lot more options to, what traditionally was a pretty, black and white landscape.
Yeah, and having met Tim and known him for a couple of years, taken some classes that he's taught long before Homeward started.
Yeah.
When I learned that it was Tim's company and he was the founder, felt absolutely comfortable in moving forward because I understood the caliber of the person at the helm.
Mhm.
And some of the other partnerships, with the leadership that is now there with Brian. Absolutely excited.
Yeah, Brian's a blast to work with. I feel, truly blessed and truly lucky to work with, some of the industry moguls that are out there. We've got, of course, Tim, Brian Grubernick, Julie Youngblood, some big names out there, but makes me feel great knowing that we've got them, on our team. If they feel like we're onto something good, I feel really great about that. But Tim, has been, from the get-go, he has always, his mantra is people only know how much you care until you show them. It's the company is dedicated to getting folks into those new homes and providing that path forward to them. And at the end of the day, I get to talk about real estate all day long, and I, sleep at night because what we do here helps get folks into their new homes, and that's something that's very special to me.
Yeah, and as we've gotten a chance to communicate via phone a number of times through this transaction, right? Absolutely feel the passion that you have about what it is that you do and how much you care about the end result, which is why we're having this conversation. I get a lot of sales calls and people reaching out.
Yeah.
That just never continues on the conversation, right? Because it's a transaction based. This has always been very much about relationships and helping people. So, super stoked about continuing to use this program, and Kim, so appreciative of your time
Thank you
for
so much.
this to walk through. So,
It's been my pleasure. It's been my pleasure.
for the folks that are watching, if this fits yours and you're a home buyer or seller, reach out, let me know how we can help. If you're a real estate agent and want to get connected to Cam, reach out to me and I'll get you connected directly to Cam. But cool. Again, hey, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. We'll, as new programs or things come up with this, we'd love to have you back to talk more about, different solutions and anecdotal evidence.
That I love that. I can't give away too much, but we've got a lot of interesting stuff coming up here soon. Currently, right now, all of my bosses, Tim Heil and everybody else, they are in Las Vegas at Inman, where we are the featured sponsor there. Tim's going to be doing a lot of speaking there, but just announced that we expanded into Arizona. So some really interesting stuff coming up here. And once I get the all clear to, start divulging some of that, I'd love to be able to come back and let you guys know the fun stuff that we have in store.
Yeah, I got that email, and unfortunately, my wife and I just closed on a vacation home, which is going to be an Airbnb down in Phoenix.
Yes,
would have loved to have used the Homeward program to be able to acquire that. Maybe save some money.
On the next ones, we've got you covered most certainly. Yeah, that's been a great, exciting launch. There's a couple of big ones right around the corner in Q1 here, but it's been an exciting, fun time to have gotten my foot in the door of this lovely company when I did. We have grown by, I kid you not, 700% in the past 8 months. So some fun stuff coming up, and we're only going to be getting better. And I can't wait to come back and tell you all the new things we have in store for everyone.
Well, excited again. Appreciate your time, and we'll connect again with future clients, and then hopefully have you back on another Facebook Live. So
hey, well, you know that I'm in your corner, and then for anybody listening, if you end up getting in chat, in touch with Matt and moving forward with this whole program, I'm going to be the guy that's calling you. That's the beauty of it, is I work directly with Matt and all of his clients and agents and, his connections. So you're going to be talking to the person that's been talking at you for the past 40 minutes or so. But looking forward to, potentially meeting some of you here, and hope to be back on the show soon, Matt.
Awesome. Cam, well, again, thanks so much. We'll reconnect. For those tuning in, appreciate it. And we'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.